God is all right. It's all right. So what I want to talk about this morning is Christmas in terms of Christ consciousness. Those of you that were here for meditation heard some of the history of some of the things that we do, what they represent, and the different cultures that have looked at this time of year for whatever reason. Some because it was dark and the longest day of the year comes and they celebrate that because they were afraid of the darkness. Others because they just love the light and recognize the light. Others because they needed answers on how it is that we're here on this planet, how to make it. And so you start celebrating and looking at symbology all around you. The Christ really represents something that lies within each of us. For many, they have taken that and made it a man or a person. But it's a representation of what lies within all. It's a representation of what you can aspire to be, how you can walk on this planet. So for many, Jesus Christ represents the exception to the rule. For me, it is the rule. It is the God. It is what one aspires to be. It is a consciousness that one endeavors to walk in. This morning I looked at Metaphysical Bible, which really takes the Bible and looks at it in all its symbology. And one of the things within the Metaphysical Bible is the word Bethlehem. And Bethlehem meaning a place where one is nourished, fed. And on a spiritual basis, the feeding is understanding, wisdom, learning. Now, if we look at the path that this consciousness took in terms of learning and feeding, there's a period of time where you don't know where Jesus is. He's born and then disappears. And obviously comes back walking in a consciousness and understanding that surpasses most. So for me, it says one must study. One must come away from the average thinking, the average doing, and study. Come to understand things from a different point of view. And so for many, there are in this room who are students of this teaching. And we begin to look at life differently. We begin to recognize that we have some responsibility for what happens in our life. That the things that we think and say show up as our experience. And that's not just on Sunday. That is every day. We begin to understand that there are laws. There's man's law and there's God's law. And you make a decision on which one is going to rule you. Now, doing this is not necessarily easy. Because one can find themselves in the doctor's office and the doctor has declared that you have cancer and have so many days to live on this planet. The average person goes into panic. But if you're walking in this teaching, you stop and say to yourself, what is the authority in my life? What is the truth in my life? And you begin to step away from the so-called authority on this planet and step into the authority that says there is something that resides within you that is absolutely whole and complete. It is always whole and complete. The difference is how you have shut it out from functioning through you as you. And you have stepped into the world's way of doing things and the world's way of thinking. Therefore, you have brought upon yourself the world's verdict. And so as you walk in this teaching, you begin to say to yourself, who is the authority in my life? The truth of the matter is you are. Based on how you speak, how you think, and how you move forward on a day-to-day basis. You see, one of day-to-day peace. It's all right when things are all right. I could do this. This is good. I'm loving this. I called so-and-so. So-and-so called me. Wow, this works. This is really good. It's good. And then a bill shows up. Where is your Christ consciousness in that? The bill shows up. And you start counting what you can see in front of you. You see, Christ consciousness says that that which I experience comes from within me. I created. So literally, you can take a little bank book and set it aside and know that there's something that moves in you that creates all that there is. That you are absolutely taken care of. That you are prosperous right now. See, that's the Christ consciousness. The Christ consciousness is not caught up in the figures in the bank. The Christ consciousness knows that it can walk. And as it walks, literally can see money on the floor. Somebody can walk up and say, hey, I owe you so-and-so. Somebody else can say, you know, I read something. You're really doing a great job. How about we publish it? I'll give you the money for it right here, right now. You see, Christ consciousness stays wide open to the blessing. The world's consciousness closes it out based on what they can count and see. Their so-called reality. Christ consciousness recognizes that you create your own reality. And it is a moment-by-moment experience. Christ consciousness says that as I move about and experience different people, there is something good and redeemable in everything. That I can look at you and I can call forth the God in you. That you can come and tell me about all the stuff that's going on and how awful things are. And I can agree or I can know something greater. Christ consciousness knows the greater. The secret with Jesus' ability to heal was that he never saw anything to heal. See, and as we walk in this Christ consciousness, and we have conversations with various family members and friends and neighbors, and they come to you with various reports, the question is, where is Christ consciousness in the listening and responding? Did you take what they said and decide it's the truth? Oh, that's too bad, honey. You just added the God energy of you to the verdict. You just helped to put them 6 feet under. That's where they claim they're going. You have to know something else. You have to know something greater. That's the Christ consciousness. The Christ consciousness recognizes that there is perfection to walk in this space. So for me, this thing we call Christmas, if you listen to some of the symbology that Reverend Pat shared, it's a time of renewal. It's a time of the evergreen, ever life, ever awake. It's a time of light versus the darkness. It's a time when you stand in the light. You are the light. You hold the light. When everybody else is walking around in a sense of fear, that consciousness is the light. When everybody's walking around with their little faces hanging down, you're the joy. You're the smile. You're the laughter. You. So for me, when we talk about the giving of presents, when we talk about the kings who came to this baby, it really is telling you that you have presents to bring to others. It's not the one that you go to Sears for. It's the one within you.